Imagine this. 1 week from today, you look in the mirror and barely recognize the person staring back. Not because you've dyed your hair or bought new clothes, but because you've upgraded everything. Your energy, your mindset, your habits, your confidence. In the next few minutes, I'm gonna show you exactly how to change your life in just 7 days. And no, this isn't clickbait. Let's get into it. Your environment is the invisible hand shaping your life, often more than willpower ever could. On day one, your mission is to reset it completely. This isn't just about tidying up. It's about taking control of every element that surrounds you so that it works for you rather than against you. Think of your current environment like a garden. If it's filled with weeds, no matter how much you try to grow something beautiful, it will always be choked out. The first step is pulling those weeds without hesitation. Look around your physical space. What you see is what you become. If your desk is stacked with random papers, snack wrappers, and cables you don't use, your brain is processing that clutter every second, draining your focus. The same goes for your bedroom. If the first thing you see in the morning is chaos, your mind starts the day in chaos. Start with a deep clean. Clear surfaces until they're almost empty. Organize the items you actually use and store away, or get rid of everything else. If you hesitate, ask yourself one question: does this item add real value to my life? If the answer is no, it's either thrown away, donated, or put somewhere out of sight. Once your physical environment is under control, move to your digital environment. This is where most people fail without realizing it. Your phone, laptop, and even your TV are portals for distraction. Every notification, every tempting app, every random file is another seed of chaos planted in your mind. Go through your phone and delete every app that doesn't directly serve your goals. If you can't delete it, hide it in a folder so it's not staring at you every time you unlock your screen. Turn off all non-essential notifications. That dopamine hit from a ping or a like, it's training your brain to seek instant gratification instead of focus. You're here to reprogram yourself, and that starts by removing those constant micro interruptions. Now, consider your emotional environment. This is harder because it involves people. Some people fill you with energy, others drain it without giving anything back. While you may not be able to cut every negative person out of your life immediately, you can limit your exposure to them. Today, make a conscious choice to step back from those who constantly complain, criticize, or pull you into unproductive habits. If you share a space with them, create boundaries, physical, verbal, or even time-based. Protect your energy like your life depends on it, because in a way, it does. Resetting your environment also means adding intentional cues that pull you toward your goals. If you want to eat healthier, keep fresh fruit in a bowl where you can see it and remove the junk food from your shelves. If you want to read more, keep a book on your nightstand and your phone in another room before bed. If you want to work out in the morning, set your workout clothes and shoes right by your bed so it's the first thing you see when you wake up. These little cues matter more than motivation because they make the right action the easiest action. This process isn't just about removing bad influences. It's about designing your surroundings so success becomes your default. You're creating a system where failure requires effort and winning happens naturally. The cleaner your space, the fewer decisions your brain has to make. Decision fatigue is real, and the less energy you waste deciding whether to do something, the more energy you can pour into actually doing it. Think about it. If every single time you sit at your desk, your tools are ready, your space is clear, and there's nothing distracting you, you're far more likely to start working immediately. Your environment is either a silent enemy or a silent partner. Today, you're choosing to make it your partner. Once you make these changes, you'll feel a strange lightness, like your mind has more space to breathe. That's not just in your head. Your brain actually processes clutter as unfinished business, keeping it in your subconscious until it's dealt with. By physically resetting your surroundings, you're giving yourself permission to mentally reset as well. This is the foundation for everything that will follow in the coming days. Without it, any habit you try to build will fight against resistance at every turn. With it, momentum will feel natural and change will happen faster than you think. The way you start your morning determines how the rest of your day unfolds. Most people roll out of bed, check their phone, scroll through social media, and let the world set their mood before they've even had a chance to decide who they want to be that day. That's why mastering your morning is one of the most powerful changes you can make. And on day 2, you're going to design the first hour of your day with absolute intention. This isn't about a perfect Instagram-worthy routine. It's about controlling your first decisions so that the rest of your day follows your lead. The first step is simple, but often ignored: wake up earlier than usual. Even just 30 to 60 minutes earlier can create the mental space you need to think clearly without distractions. When you wake up early, the world is quieter and your mind is free from the chaos that builds throughout the day. The temptation will be to hit snooze, but that's already a small loss before your day even begins. Get out of bed as soon as your alarm goes off. If you struggle with this, put your alarm across the room so you have to stand up to turn it off. Once you're up, resist the urge to grab your phone. That one small choice keeps you from immediately being bombarded with notifications, news, or messages that shift your focus to other people's priorities. Instead, give yourself the gift of starting the day on your terms. Drink a full glass of water as soon as you wake up to rehydrate and signal to your body that it's time to be alert. Stretch for a few minutes or do light movement to wake up your muscles and blood flow. You're not just warming up your body, you're also telling your mind that today you're in control. Now bring in something that energizes your mindset. It could be meditation, deep breathing, or a short gratitude exercise. Even spending 5 minutes in silence, focusing on your breath, can calm your mind and prepare you for the challenges ahead. If meditation feels intimidating, simply sit and think about 3 things you're grateful for, no matter how small. Gratitude shifts your perspective and sets a positive tone that carries in your decisions and interactions for the rest of the day. The next part is setting your direction. Take a notebook or journal and write down your top 3 priorities for the day. Not a to-do list with 20 scattered tasks, but 3 things that, if completed, would make today a success. This forces you to focus and ensures that your energy goes toward what actually matters. Write them in a way that makes you excited to achieve them, not just as chores to complete. When you know exactly what you're aiming for, you start your day with purpose instead of reaction. Adding movement into your morning is critical. This doesn't have to be a full workout, though if you can, it's even better. But some form of exercise, even 10 minutes of body weight exercises or a brisk walk, will wake you up faster than coffee. Physical activity first thing in the morning increases your energy, improves your mood, and sharpens your mental focus. It's not about burning calories, it's about creating momentum. Finally, design your environment the night before so that your morning flows effortlessly. Lay out your clothes, prepare your breakfast or coffee setup, and have your workspace ready if you're starting your day with creative or professional tasks. Removing small frictions makes it easier to stay consistent. A well-designed morning doesn't happen by accident. It's the result of decisions made ahead of time that protect you from falling back into autopilot. When you wake up with clarity, avoid distractions, move your body, and set clear priorities, you create a chain reaction that shapes the rest of the day. Your mind is the control center of your life, and the reality you experience is a direct reflection of what's happening inside it. If you want to create lasting change, you have to rewire how you think, how you speak to yourself, and what you believe is possible. On day 3, your focus is to intentionally shape your thoughts so they start working for you instead of against you. This isn't something that happens by accident. It's the result of deliberate, repeated actions that train your brain to think in a new way. The goal is not just to feel good for a moment, but to create a mental environment where growth becomes your default. Start by understanding that your thoughts are habits. If your first instinct when something goes wrong is to complain, blame, or predict failure, that's not your personality. It's a learned mental loop. The good news is that loops can be replaced. The first step is awareness. Pay attention to the thoughts that run through your head during the day. Notice the words you use when talking to yourself. Are they empowering or limiting? Are you constantly telling yourself you're tired, unlucky, or not capable? Every time you repeat those messages, you're reinforcing them whether they're true or not. The brain doesn't distinguish between reality and repeated imagination. It believes what it hears most often. To start rewiring, you have to intentionally feed your mind with better input. This means replacing passive consumption with active learning. Spend at least 20 minutes reading something that inspires you, challenges you, or teaches you a skill you value. The point is not to scroll motivational quotes on social media, but to engage deeply with ideas that elevate your thinking. Books, podcasts, and high-quality articles are fuel for your brain. If you want your life to look different, you have to expose your mind to different kinds of thinking than the ones that created your current reality. Journaling is another powerful tool for rewiring your mind because it turns vague thoughts into clear, visible words. Write about the person you want to become, but write it in the present tense as if it's already true. Instead of, I want to be confident, write, I am confident and handle challenges with calm strength. This isn't about lying to yourself. It's about training your brain to accept new beliefs and act in ways that align with them. The more vividly you describe the version of yourself you want to be, the more your subconscious starts to seek out actions that match that image. Meditation or mindfulness practice plays a role here as well. Even 10 minutes a day of sitting quietly, focusing on your breath and observing your thoughts without judgment builds the mental discipline to not get dragged into every passing worry or distraction. Most people don't realize how much mental energy they waste replaying old mistakes or worrying about things that haven't happened yet. Mindfulness helps you see those patterns clearly, and when you can see them, you can choose to break them. Your external environment also impacts your internal one, so part of rewiring your mind is surrounding yourself with people, conversations, and media that support the person you want to become. If your friends constantly complain, gossip, or speak negatively about their own lives, you'll find it harder to maintain a positive mental state. Seek out voices in person or through books and videos that speak about growth, resilience, and possibility. The more you hear those messages, the more normal they become in your own thinking. Finally, understand that this process works best when you act on the new thoughts you're cultivating. Thinking differently is powerful, but it's incomplete without action. When you tell yourself you're disciplined, back it up by keeping a promise to yourself. When you say you're confident, take the small risk you've been avoiding. Every time you align action with belief, you're reinforcing that belief on a deeper level, making it part of who you are rather than just something you say. Your body is the physical vehicle that carries you through every single experience in life, and the way you treat it directly affects your energy, focus, and overall quality of living. On day 4, the focus is to push your body further than you normally would, not just for physical benefits, but to strengthen your mental resilience. Most people underestimate the link between physical exertion and mental toughness. When you challenge your body, you're also training your mind to break through resistance, to keep going when it's uncomfortable, and to develop the discipline that spills into every other area of life. Start with movement that demands more from you than your regular routine. This doesn't necessarily mean lifting heavy weights or running for miles if you're not used to it, but it does mean pushing past your current comfort zone. If you haven't exercised in a while, commit to a workout that elevates your heart rate, works your muscles, and makes you sweat. If you already have a fitness routine, increase the intensity, add more reps, shorten your rest times, lift heavier, or go longer. The point is to experience that moment where your body says, I want to stop, and your mind responds with, not yet. That moment is where growth happens. Your body thrives on consistency and challenge. Too many people only move enough to maintain their current level, never pushing hard enough to stimulate real change. By intentionally training harder, you're teaching your body to adapt, and that adaptation leads to increased stamina, strength, and endurance. Even more importantly, it develops a mental habit of persistence. When you finish a workout you didn't think you could complete, you start to see other challenges in life differently. Difficult tasks become less intimidating because you've trained yourself to keep going under pressure. Warming up before you train is essential, not just to prevent injury, but to prepare your mind for what's coming. A proper warm-up signals to your body that it's time to perform, elevates your heart rate gradually, and improves your range of motion. Think of it as a mental switch that shifts you from everyday mode into performance mode. After your workout, take time to stretch and cool down, giving your muscles the attention they need to recover faster and perform better next time. Hydration and nutrition play a huge role in how well your body can perform. When you push your body harder than usual, you're also depleting it faster. Make sure you're fueling it with nutrient-rich foods that support recovery and energy, lean proteins, complex carbohydrates, healthy fats, and plenty of vegetables. Avoid relying on processed snacks or quick sugar fixes, as they lead to energy crashes that can undo the benefits of your effort. Drinking enough water throughout the day is equally critical. Even mild dehydration can reduce physical performance and cognitive function, making it harder to stay consistent. It's also important to recognize the mental battle that happens during physical challenges. Your brain is designed to keep you safe, which means it often tells you to stop long before you've reached your actual limits. Learning to push past that initial discomfort, while still respecting your body's true signals, is a skill that carries over into work, relationships, and personal goals. The discomfort you feel in those moments is not a sign that you're failing, it's proof that you're growing. Your posture, breathing, and mindset during exercise can dramatically influence your results. Slutching or shallow breathing limits oxygen flow and reduces your power. Standing tall, engaging your core, and breathing deeply not only improve performance, but also send a psychological message that you are in control. Every rep, every step, every minute you stay in the game is a small victory that builds into something much bigger over time. This day is not just about a single workout. It's about proving to yourself that you can demand more from your body and have it deliver. The confidence you gain from that is a form of strength that stays with you long after you've finished training. There is always something in your life that you know you should do, but keep putting off. It might be a difficult conversation, a project you've been procrastinating on, a decision you've been avoiding, or a change you've been too afraid to start. Day 5 is about radical action, choosing one of those things and facing it head on without hesitation. This is not about doing something reckless or impulsive, but about attacking the task or decision that has been silently draining your energy every time you think about it. That weight you've been carrying, the constant mental loop of "I'll get to it later," is costing you clarity and momentum. Today is about breaking that cycle. The first step is identifying the one action that will make the biggest difference in your life right now. If you just did it, write down the things you've been avoiding and be brutally honest with yourself about why you've been putting them off. Is it fear of failure? Fear of rejection? Uncertainty about the outcome? Often the thing we resist the most is the exact thing that would move us forward the fastest. Once you see that clearly, the hesitation becomes easier to challenge. You're not waiting for the perfect time or for confidence to magically appear. You're deciding that today is the day you stop letting fear dictate your pace. Once you've chosen your action, remove every possible excuse that could stop you from doing it. If it's a conversation, pick up the phone or arrange the meeting immediately. If it's a task, set aside the time today and clear away distractions so there's no reason to delay. If it's a decision, gather whatever final information you need, then commit. Action doesn't have to feel comfortable to be right. In fact, the discomfort is often the signal that you're stepping into the exact space where growth happens. Radical action isn't always about big, dramatic moves. It's about decisive ones. Sometimes a single email can open doors you've been staring at for months. Sometimes applying for that opportunity you feel unqualified for can shift your entire path. Sometimes finally starting the thing you've been planning for years creates more progress in one day than the last 6 months combined. The size of the action isn't the key. The commitment to doing it without delay is. When you take that leap, your mind will try to pull you back with all the usual patterns: overthinking, second guessing, imagining worst case scenarios. This is when you lean on the principle of short, circulating hesitation. The longer you think about doing something difficult, the less likely you are to do it. So instead of sitting in that space, move quickly. Stand up, walk toward the phone, open the email draft, get in the car. Whatever physical movement pushes you toward execution. Momentum is built by moving, not by thinking about moving. The beauty of radical action is that it often has a ripple effect you can't predict. Completing one high-impact task creates a surge of confidence that spills into the rest of your day. It changes the way you carry yourself, the way you speak, and the way you approach other challenges. You start to see yourself as someone who acts instead of someone who waits, and that identity shift is powerful. People respond differently to you when you operate from that place of decisiveness and courage. It's important to understand that this is not a one-time stunt, but a skill you can develop. The more you practice facing the things you've been avoiding, the less intimidating they become. You begin to trust yourself to handle what comes, even if it's uncomfortable or uncertain. You stop needing perfect conditions or absolute readiness before you move. Every time you choose action over avoidance, you strengthen that mental muscle, and soon it becomes second nature to handle challenges immediately rather than letting them grow in your mind. The people you spend your time with are shaping you every single day, whether you notice it or not. Their habits, their attitudes, their words, and even their energy gradually influence your own thoughts and behaviors. On day 6, the focus is on performing a social reset, taking a close look at who is in your circle, how they affect you, and making intentional choices about who you allow to have access to your time and attention. This is not about suddenly cutting everyone out of your life or creating unnecessary drama. It's about becoming aware of the quality of your relationships and adjusting your environment so that it supports the person you want to become. Start by observing how you feel after spending time with different people. Some leave you feeling energized, inspired, and motivated. Others leave you feeling drained, unmotivated, or even doubtful about your own goals. This is not always about what they say, but how they show up in their own lives. People who constantly complain, gossip, or play the victim subtly encourage you to adopt similar habits. On the other hand, people who take responsibility, focus on growth, and push themselves forward naturally pull you in that direction as well. Your energy is precious, and the wrong company can deplete it faster than you realize. Once you're aware of these dynamics, create some space between yourself and those who consistently bring negativity. This doesn't require confrontation or explanations in most cases. It can simply mean spending less time with them, declining certain invitations, or not engaging in conversations that lead nowhere productive. That freed up space can then be filled with people who challenge and inspire you. If you don't currently have many people like that in your life, seek them out intentionally, join groups, attend events, participate in online communities, or start conversations with those you admire. The more you surround yourself with people living in alignment with your goals, the more natural it becomes for you to do the same. Your social reset also includes setting boundaries. Boundaries are not about keeping people out. They're about keeping your energy protected so you can give your best to the relationships that truly matter. If someone regularly interrupts your focus, speaks to you in a disrespectful way, or pressures you into habits you're trying to break, you have every right to say no. The first few times you assert these boundaries, it may feel uncomfortable, but over time it becomes a natural part of respecting yourself. This process works in reverse as well. Think about the kind of energy you are bringing into your relationships. If you want to attract high energy, driven, and positive people, you have to be someone who brings value, encouragement, and honesty into every interaction. Show genuine interest in others' growth, celebrate their wins, and be the kind of person they look forward to being around. Relationships thrive when there's mutual inspiration and support rather than one-sided taking. It's also important to recognize that not every relationship is meant to last forever. People grow at different speeds, and sometimes paths diverge. That doesn't make anyone a villain. It simply means that you're both moving in directions that no longer align. The key is to make peace with those changes rather than clinging to connections out of habit or guilt. The more you allow your circle to evolve, the more room you create for the right people to enter. A social reset is not just about avoiding negativity. It's about deliberately building a network that elevates you. When the people around you have high standards for themselves, you naturally raise your own. When they talk about possibilities instead of limitations, your mind stays open to new opportunities. When they take consistent action toward their goals, you're reminded to do the same. The environment you create socially becomes a mirror that reflects and reinforces the best version of yourself. And over time, it becomes impossible not to grow in that kind of company. The final day is about taking everything you've built over the past week and turning it into a plan for your future self. Change doesn't stick by accident. It sticks because you decide to make the new version of yourself the baseline, not just a temporary burst of effort. On day 7, you're going to look back at what you've accomplished, identify what worked, and create a clear vision for where you're going next. This is the bridge between a short-term transformation and a long-term reinvention. Begin by reflecting on the last 6 days in detail. Write down what you did, how you felt, and what changes you noticed in yourself. Pay attention not only to the obvious wins, but also to the subtle shifts, the moments where you responded differently than you normally would, the times you resisted an old habit without overthinking it, the ways your energy and focus have improved. These small changes matter because they show you that transformation isn't just physical or external, it's happening in the way you think and act. Next, identify the specific actions from the week that gave you the greatest results. Maybe it was waking up early, journaling, cutting out distractions, working out harder than usual, or taking that bold step you'd been avoiding. These are your high return habits, the ones that create a ripple effect into other areas of your life. Commit to keeping them in your routine beyond this week. You don't need to maintain every single thing you've done at maximum intensity, but you do need to preserve the actions that have the biggest impact on your growth. Once you know what you're keeping, it's time to look forward. Imagine yourself 30 days from now, living as the person you've started to become. Picture what your days look like, how you carry yourself, what kind of opportunities you attract, and how you handle challenges. Be as specific as possible because the clearer the vision, the easier it is to reverse engineer the steps to get there. Write this vision down, not as a fantasy, but as a declaration of who you are becoming. The more vivid it is, the more your mind will work to align your actions with it. Now, break that 30-day vision into smaller milestones. If your goal is to improve your fitness, set clear weekly targets for workouts, nutrition, and recovery. If your aim is to build a new skill or grow a side project, set deadlines for each stage of progress. Structure is your ally here. Without it, even the best intentions fade as life gets busy. By creating a plan with specific actions, you make it much harder to drift back into old patterns. It's also important to prepare for the resistance that will inevitably come. There will be days you feel tired, unmotivated, or tempted to slip back into habits that don't serve you. Instead of hoping those days don't happen, plan for them. Decide now how you'll respond when they do. This could mean having a simplified version of your routine for low energy days, using an accountability partner to keep you on track, or revisiting your vision to remind yourself why you started. Finally, commit to ongoing self-audits. Every week, take a few minutes to review your progress. Ask yourself what went well, what needs adjustment, and what you can improve in the next 7 days. This keeps you from operating on autopilot and ensures you're always moving in the direction you've chosen. Over time, these weekly check-ins become the guardrails that keep you aligned with your vision. By turning this reflection and planning process into a habit, you make sure that the progress you've achieved this week is not the peak of your growth, but the starting point for something much bigger.